Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you're new. I hope you're all doing well, and welcome back to a try a chapter tag video. Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be doing a try a chapter video because I'm in a very weird slump where I want to read all the books, but no book is keeping my attention. I read about 10 to 20 pages and decide to give up and DNF it. I'm really struggling with reading right now, and as you know, I'm really in the Christmas spirit and I want to read loads of Christmas books, but I'm worried that my reading slump is going to kind of hinder that experience a little bit. So in today's video, we're going to try and combat my reading slump by picking a book to read out of the 5 that I've chosen to read a chapter from. So if you don't know what the try a chapter tag is, it's basically where you pick a selection of books. I've personally picked 5, but you can pick any number. You read a chapter from each of those books, and whichever chapter from one of those books grabs your attention the most, you hopefully continue to read it. Basically, you just kind of get a feel for each of the books and see which one you're fancying at that time. So the 5 books I'm going to be reading a chapter of today. The first one is going to be 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Elston. This is a Christmassy New Year's Eve kind of book where a grandma sets her granddaughter up on like 10 blind dates and stuff goes from there. I don't know too much about this book. I've had this book on my TBR for about 3 years now, intending to read it every Christmas period, and I never get around to it. So this is one of the reasons why I put this book on this try a chapter video, because if I don't at least read the first chapter, I just think I'm going to keep putting it off. So I'll be reading the first chapter of this book. The next 3 books are actually on my November TBR. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link up above and down below. But I haven't wanted to read any of my books off my TBR, so I thought if I put 3 of them on here, hopefully I can read 1 book from my November TBR this month, but we shall see. So the first one is 3 Keys by Kelly Yang. This is the second book in the Front Desk series by Kelly Yang, which is a middle grade series about our main character Mia, who runs a motel with her family, and lots of walks of life come through a motel, and you have a lot of lessons learned for a middle grade. And I really enjoyed the first book when I read it in October, so I put it on my November TBR. But I don't know if I'm feeling this book right now, but I still want to read it, and because it's a middle grade, I think it'll be a better option than some of the other ones I've picked whilst kind of figuring out my reading slump and getting out of my reading slump. So I'm going to read the first chapter of this book. The next one is Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. I want to read the first chapter of this because I think it's going to be a 5-star prediction. And another note on this video is every single book apart from this are 5-star predictions, and I have a video planned in December that kind of is wrapping up my entire reading year. So my personal reading year is kind of running out. So I want to get another couple of 5 stars in my reading year wrap up if I possibly can. So I've chucked a load of 5-star predictions on this video. The next book, the 4th one, is Kismet by Luke Trengen. This book has been on my TBR for over a year now, and I keep putting it off because I just don't like the cover, but the blurb sounds right up my alley. And then the last book I'm going to be reading a chapter of is The Road Trip by Beth O'Leary. This probably has the most potential to be a 5 stars because I love the concept of this book and I love Beth O'Leary's writing. This book basically follows 5 people who all have to car share up to a wedding, and it follows their road trip from their off point to their destination. And I just think this book's going to be brilliant. I love confined space sort of books where they're all kind of stuck in one place and have to try and figure out the differences. So this one sounds right up my alley. And I would like to read it before the end of the year because I would like to have another 5-star read by the end of the year that isn't a reread. So those are all the books. It's quite a lot. I've never done a try a chapter with this many books before, but they all kind of have different things to offer. We have a couple of 5-star predictions. We have kind of like a seasonal Christmassy read. We have a middle grade that possibly could be the way to go, and I have a non-fiction memoir as well. So this pile of books sounds very appealing. It just depends on which book is going to keep my attention. That is the question really, because I want to read all these books like ASAP, but I know myself, I will probably read about 10 pages and then give up because that's the kind of reading slump I'm in. So I'm hoping by filming my reactions, reading these books and telling you guys what my thoughts are on the first chapter, it will motivate me to continue reading. I'm hoping, fingers crossed. Leave a prediction down below now which book you think I'm going to continue reading, which book you think I'm going to love the most. And in the next clip, we will start the next book, but I am on my lunch break at work currently, so the reading will commence after I finish work most likely, but fingers crossed one of these books will get me out of my reading slump. I have finished work for the day. I'm in my Christmas PJs and I'm gonna start the try chapter tag challenge, and I'm gonna start with 10 blind dates. I think this will be an easy one to start with because it's a YA, and also the fact that I'm in my Christmas PJs, so I thought I'd read the seasonal book that's on this challenge. So let's get into it, I guess. Done of this. The writing's really easy. It seems like a really sweet read. A lot happened in the first chapter, so I feel like it'll be a really fast-paced book. Potential to carry on with it for sure, because it's one of those books where you can read before December because it's not like a full-on Christmas story, it's just set at Christmas, so you kind of get the festive feels, but you're not like reading about Santa and reindeers and elves and snow and all that sort of stuff. So enjoyed the first chapter. I'm going to move on to another chapter because talking about Christmas, I am watching a Christmas film with my family tonight, and then I'm busy at the weekend, so I'd like to get most of the books read before the movie starts this evening. So I'm going to move straight on to my second book, and I'm literally just going to pull off the pile. So the next one is going to be Kismet by Luke Trengen. The first chapter is not very long, like 10 pages, so I'm going to dive straight into this one. So our main character is on a bus, and a couple just walked on with Argos bags, and I instantly went, Christmas presents. And then I had to take a step back and realise, this is not a Christmas book. That's how much of a Christmas mood I'm in. And I guess it doesn't help that I just read the first chapter of 10 Blind Dates, but even still, Christmas! Okay, just read this chapter. I'm intrigued, but not as much as I thought I would be. It seems to have a different twist than I was originally anticipating. So the first chapter, you follow the main character, Anna, who is on this dating app called Kismet, but Kismet is not like your traditional dating app. You go on the app, and in a 50-mile radius to where you currently at, so a bit like a location map, like tells you all your matches, and it's a score route of 100, and like 66 and above is like really good. Anything else kind of don't involve yourself with. And all the couples that have met on Kismet have like a score of like compatibility. So it seems not like sci-fi-y, but quite technology heavy, and I wasn't expecting that, but I'm intrigued to like read it. It's not like it's going to be a book where I've read the first chapter and just don't care for it at all, but I don't think I'm in the mood for it right now. That's where I'm at. And while we're on a roll, grabbing the next book off my pile, and let's crack on with Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. So this is a non-fiction memoir, so a little bit of a different pace to the others. And I know the first chapter is like a page. Yeah, like 2 pages. So I'm going to read a couple of chapters, but then it's a non-fiction, so I feel like the chapter's going to be really long. Oh, no, they're not. 20 pages. I'll read 20 pages of this and get back to you, but I'm really predicting this to be a 5 stars, so fingers crossed. I decided to come sit on my floor and read this book because change of scenery. Okay, I know I said I was going to read 2 sections of this book. I won't really call them chapters because they're about different aspects of her life, and being in a reading slump. This writing style just isn't for me right now, and I don't want to force myself to read this book when I know that I can read it at a time where I would enjoy this book more, if you get what I'm saying. So I've read like 3 pages and just know instantly that this book isn't for me at this current time because of my reading slump. I need something more like 10 Blind Dates, which is a YA, really quick to get through. I don't really have to think too much about it, whilst I'm kind of trying to get out of my reading slump rather than a non-fiction memoir. I put this on the list to kind of be hopeful that this would kind of pull me out of my slump because it is a 5-star prediction. But I don't want to hinder the experience and lower the rating of it potentially being a 5 stars just because it's me rather than the book. So 3 pages in, I know I'm going to love this book, but not for me at this current time. So that's another one down. We literally only have like 2 more books to go, and the next one is a middle grade. So let's fly away and do this one next, which is 3 Keys, which is the second book in the Front Desk series trilogy, I think. A middle grade should be really easy to get through. I think this one is like 11 pages chapter wise. Yeah, 11 pages. Okay, 1 chapter done of this. I wasn't really feeling it until the last sentence of the first chapter, so I'm intrigued again at this series. I'm still, top spot is still leaning towards 10 Blind Dates, which I wasn't actually expecting, but I still have 1 more to go, and I really hope I love the first chapter of this book, because it is the road trip, but I just don't think 3 Keys is gonna be the way forward. I know with reading slumps you're kind of meant to read books that are familiar to you. That kind of is how it works for me anyway, like reading sequels or reading books that you've already read before, so like rereads. But I don't know, this is probably second top spot, so it probably goes 10 Blind Dates, 3 Keys, Kismet, Everything I Know About Love, and then obviously we have the road trip to rank. But so far it seems like 10 Blind Dates might be the book that I kind of continue with. But I love this series, and I do think if I spent some time getting into it, I would love this book, but I just don't have the attention span right now to work my way through a book, which is why I gave up on Everything I Know About Love, because my attention span for reading at the minute is so minimal that I need something that's going to grip me from the first 10 pages, which is what 10 Blind Dates does. But hopefully the road trip will also be the same, so I'm going to hop straight into this one. How many pages is the first chapter? Because it's a hardback, the pages are a lot bigger. Oh, it's 1 page, but it's told in like 4 perspectives. So maybe I'll read the second perspective as well. Yeah, okay, I'll read the first 2 perspectives and get a feel for what this book is about. Camera battery's gonna die, so I'm gonna do this quickly. First perspective was Dylan. The second perspective was Addie. Addie and Dylan used to go out. They have been broken up for like 20 months, and they are both on their way to their friend's wedding, but in separate cars. And then when Dylan crashes into the back of Addie's car, and their car was damaged, but Addie's car wasn't, so they end up all driving up to the wedding in Scotland together. So you're in close quarters, and there's going to be like sexual tension and all that sort of stuff in it. And I think it's going to be a really good bantery book. So I'm really interested on reading on, but I feel like I will feel more productive and more like happy with my progress if I go with 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Elston book, if I go with this book, because it's a YA and I can just fly through the pages more. And you guys, you know this by now, but I'm in the Christmas spirit, so I'm gonna go for this book and read a bit more of this tonight. And then if I continue with the same pile of books, I'll probably end up reading The Road Trip next, because I do want to read this book before the end of the year. And the first couple of like the first 15 pages, yeah, got me really intrigued. And the writing, I just feel like it's going to be like high level banter in this book, so I'm excited. So the total ranking of this video quickly, I'm going to gather all the books because they're all a bit everywhere. Okay, so in kind of last place is the book that I definitely won't be reading anytime soon until I'm completely out of my slump, is Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. And then I'm going to go for 3 Keys. Yeah, I'm going to go for 3 Keys. I'm literally running out of battery. And then I'm going to go for Kismet, then The Road Trip, then The Road Trip, and then the book that I'm going to go ahead with and start, like, continue reading tonight is this book, which I'm actually excited for because it's a Christmassy romance YA book, which I just think I need to fly through right now. And on that note, I'm going to leave you guys to it. Let me know if you enjoyed this video by giving a massive thumbs up. Subscribe down below to see future content from me. I love doing try chapter tags. I wish I did them more often. I need to remember to do them more often. Let me know if you would like to see more in the future. And without further ado, I will see you in my next video. Bye guys. Quickly do a thumbnail before my camera battery dies. Ah!